Hey everybody, Jay Barino here. This is IXION. We are in Chapter 1. It looks like it just auto-saved. I'll just load my save. This was right at the end of the last video. We're getting very close to the end of Chapter 1. I've been, again, very, very min-maxy. That's how I like to play. So this game just really scratches that itch. I'm in an equilibrium with the amount of available iron to mine in the system, such that we can just sort of chill, thaw people out, and start getting batteries so that we can properly move around the system with the Tiqqun. Should work out just fine. We got some leftover carbon and silicon from our now demolished structures, industry structures. This steel mill's still churning away. It's going to be here, I think, for a while. We still haven't had a single accident. I didn't intend for that, because, again, it feels like an exploit, but I played really well, so I don't deserve any. That's what I would say. Okay, we're still bringing in iron. Honestly, don't bring in iron on this one. Oh no, all the cryopods are picked up. We just need enough space. It's possible that this...
Warning. Hull integrity below 10%.
No, we're good. Okay, but we do have to turn the auto repair back on for the hull. What I had considered doing, I just don't have enough... I don't have enough alloys right now. Steel alloys is... build another EVA airlock, not to turn it on and help with the repairing, but just having the building built will allow us to have space specialization 2, which should allow us to repair more efficiently. Like, it impacts the amount per HP. So I'm leaning towards that. Food is at 101.6. That is a bit too close for my liking. How are we doing on power? That can only... I mean, these batteries can barely get us part of the way. I could turn off a bunch of structures. I can't turn off my food, but I can turn off stuff in Sector 1 that we don't need temporarily so that the batteries have a smaller draw. Right now, though, we're just chilling and waiting for alloy. We just need the alloy to build back up. Have me feel a little more... waste cycle on the steel mill is a bad time. Eventually, we'll be able to collect that waste rather than having to go through a waste destruction cycle. But right now, this is where we're at. So, we continue to thaw people. We've got 431 people here. So, we can afford to have over 100 people homeless and not suffer any stability penalty. Over here, we can have... about 60 people homeless, between 60 and 70 people homeless without a stability penalty. So I don't love having people homeless at all, but getting them unfrozen now so that they're ready to go next chapters so that we can move them into Sector 6 would be huge. And in fact, I might even consider opening Sector 6 once I have everything else kind of up to snuff where I'd like it to be. But again, not quite there. Eventually, I am going to have... I'm going to have a Lunaclism Memorial right here, but we need to get rid of these 4 buildings, these 4 residential structures, but I already have a homeless count, so that's probably not the best choice. And we went through a waste cycle there, so even the hull repairs sort of took a dip. I'm going to go ahead and just turn them off, allow us to get maybe a little bit of a stockpile backup of alloys. So this is where...
Hull integrity below 50%.
Yeah, that hull decay, it's just like, what? It's just like aluminum foil put over, like, tape and strings. I don't understand why it's so bad. But yeah, we can afford to have a decent chunk of homelessness. Even if we had accidents, we'd be okay, because I have a lot of spare workers now. So we're going to start sending these over to Sector 2. Building a few more optimized quarters probably would be for the best here, but I don't even have enough alloy to bring over from Sector 1 to fill this up. And I'm going to need more food here relatively soon. Not a lot, but just enough. I had some up here because I was going to build the other EVA airlock. I could put some down here. I don't want to have to, but I could. So we'll make a road here so we can build more batteries. This is going to be for an EVA airlock. I think I'm going to do it. It's expensive, and I don't have the alloys right now. So actually, we're just going to pause it for a second. And if I were to make... If I were to make some food structures down here, I could make 1 or 2, and then I'd have room for some stuff that I'm going to need relatively soon as well. So let's do this. You know, we got plenty of workers. And this is just to make sure we can unthaw everyone and be relatively safe. We won't need these pretty soon. Coming up next chapter, we'll have a new source of food. DLS centers, also things that I need. Again, there's a lot I need, and a lot of it is just based on waiting for the steel in this sector. And having to do that waiting is... It's fine. It's just, it's a lot. So if we do this here... And I'm trying to be space efficient with these batteries. We're going to end up moving these later. I'm going to set these ones up in the back, where it takes a road to get there to construct them, but then I can delete the road, and then they're fine.
Warning. Hull integrity below 10%.
Well, that's good, because I just queued up a bunch of batteries. All right, we'll turn that back on, and we're on a waste cycle again. Food, though, is fine. We still have 240 people to thaw out. I don't know if we can feed that many people. I can squeeze in another insect farm here if I need. Again, this space, I could put more insect farms here. It's just I'm going to be putting things in here relatively early next chapter. So I don't know if it's the right choice. There's a lot I could still do in this chapter, to be clear. I don't need to move on until there's no iron left to pick up. As soon as there's no iron left to pick up, then you gotta leave. You gotta go. How are we looking on power? Again, we need 2.1 cycles, but we could also turn... I can't really turn anything off in my food sector, to be clear. So I don't plan on going until I can hit that. I think just this one battery should get us there in the food sector. Then we could turn the steel mill off and we could roll. Should be all good. Yeah, it's just that the steel is highly spoken for at this point. It's highly spoken for. Getting a second stockpile just to have more transport trucks might make things worthwhile. I don't know, man. Just turn this off. Again, it's fine. Until it's at 100% efficiency, there isn't even that much point, in my opinion. So this is a very power-hungry sector, for sure. This less so. Food is going to become extremely power-hungry. We're not quite there yet, but that is going to be a big, big, big thing. We're at neutral. There shouldn't be anything else that kicks us down into worse stability. So we're okay for now. And we do this one where it's like you stayed in the system too long. That's temporary. That goes away when we enter Sector 2. So once you jump, that goes away. But eventually you get it for Sector 2. You'll get it for Sector 3, right? It comes back every chapter. How we looking? Not quite. That's still building. Let's do this, and we can throw a battery right there. I mean, this is very space efficient. I like this a lot, so I mean, I might just keep these batteries this way for a while. Right, and then we can get rid of this road and build 2 more there. And only when we demolish them are we going to have to rebuild the road to get to these to demolish them. But that's... we don't have to worry about that right now. Okay, you're at 2.3. This is going to get us to 2. Yeah, this is great. We just need this one to finish. Actually, I mean, that one's not even necessary. We have enough to get to Jupiter if we just turn something off. But there's really nothing I want to turn off. Maybe we just turn this off. We don't need the probe launcher. 2.1. Interesting. Did that not really impact it at all? Yeah, 0.1. Well, we'll just wait for this battery.
Hull integrity below 10%.
Color me shocked. All right, we can get rid of this road, so that way, if we want to, we can fill in more batteries for later. And then up here, similarly, I'm going to put another Tier 1 battery just crammed up there, which we need a road to get to. Wait, are we negative? Homelessness? I deserve that. Let's... I mean, I've just been constantly letting people out of cryopods. So we'll flip that. We'll get one more house over here, which not only will remove homelessness, but by like 40. So we could release 40 more people over here too. Okay, how are we looking? 2, that's enough. So let's go ahead and move the Tiqqun to Jupiter. 2.1 cycles. We can afford it. Even less because we did the little hop to Earth first. Eventually, we should have enough battery power that we can make much longer moves between areas. But let's just go ahead and speed it up because it is slow as heck. There's a bunch of iron over here. It's just going to take a long time for my cargo ships to get it. Iron is not really the problem. Our docks are full of it. I might grab some ice. You know, it really couldn't hurt to just grab some ice and fill up my stockpiles that I already built for it. I think there's a bigger hit of it up here. Yeah. So the probe launcher's still online. We got plenty of polymer, so why not? So what I'm going to do is we're going to complete this mission, and then I will probably just pause the footage and just do all this wacky farming so that we can go into Chapter 2 with the strongest start. All right, prepare IXION for Tiqqun connection. Once the Tiqqun has reached Jupiter orbit, the Sensitives team will work with Tiqqun engineers to prepare the IXION engine for connection to the station. The older, faulty engine will be removed. That's what I like to hear. Get it out of here. It caused the destruction of our race, of our peoples, not our race, of our species. That's what I'm looking for. Just that science fiction vernacular there, where they call other species, they call them races a lot of the time. I don't know why, but that is what they do. So if we want to move ice, that requires 2 things. We need to put the ice in a stockpile here, and then we need to have it moved to the stockpiles over here. I don't know if there's enough ice on the map, realistically, but one of you can go ahead and start getting ice. And we're going to be mining ice, right? Go ahead and get it. It's just so that when we're ready to start messing around with ice next time, we're good to go. So this is going. Stop. Everybody stop. We have no alloy? What am I building? Have I been building something such that I have 0 alloy? I guess this? Hull integrity's good enough that we could turn this off. Having to micromanage that early on is a pain. We'll probably be micromanaging it through all of Chapter 2 as well. All right, Hephaestus, what you got for me? Working together, the crew of the Tiqqun and team of the Sensitive have prepared IXION for connection. Final attachment protocols can be initiated via EVA airlock. I would love to dismantle the Hephaestus site to salvage as many resources as possible. Incoming transmission.
Administrator, we have received a transmission from the Hephaestus PA, Olympia.
Okay.
Tiqqun, IXION is now in orbit and ready for installation. You are not designed to calculate your own wall coordinates. IXION will only permit you to use previously generated coordinates or to follow the vowel signatures of others that have crossed self-similar space. To make your existence worthwhile, you will need to find the coordinates of the exoplanet that Protagoras is looking for, Remus. Vanya was right about the echoes of the future. I bestow upon you this miracle, and with it, release myself so that I may embrace the sleep that was stolen from me.
All right. Good night, sweet princess. Alright, again, the strain on alloys is becoming quite a lot. Again, we have a lot of iron to smelt into it, but working off of one steel mill has been a challenge. I would have maybe loved to... Let's go ahead and change... oh yeah, we've got the repatriation on the way. Maybe building a second steel mill in Sector 1 would have been valuable because I can afford it in terms of power and workers at this point, but space is the concern because we need enough housing to avoid the housing debuff. I could have probably crammed it in right here if I were to do this again. I could have fit it here. The problem is then we lose these insect farms, which we have space for over here. Realistically, we do have space. So I think it would have been okay. We need to increase the amount of food. We have a lot of crew. We have a lot of crew to feed at this point. How are we looking? 101. I'm thinking maybe it's time we turn this off. Because while I can make more I mean, I have space. I want to be super clear. I understand I have space, but it's just... I don't want to overbuild it knowing that I have to tear it down later, because while it seems like I have space, I need it for higher tier stuff later. And it's just a common mistake, I think, if you overbuild too much housing. It's just gonna cause problems later. So we kick these guys back to Sector 2. I'm just gonna keep thawing where I can. Just because thawing people out is a time-consuming process, I don't really have space for another chronic center to make it go much faster. Nor do I really want it to go faster, truthfully. Okay, chill with the iron for a second, please. We just need ice. I just want ice, please. And then we can start working on this EVA airlock. Because otherwise, we're looking pretty good. Our team has salvaged a number of useful materials from the Hephaestus site. These are ready for extraction. That's a nice haul. That's a pretty nice haul. Again, we don't really have much room in our docking bays for them. What I could do is just make a second... I don't think I regret doing this. Let's just make more stockpiles. We're out of alloy. What am I spending alloy on? Oh, just because I'm making more houses over there. Hull is fine. Just making another stockpile for iron. It'll get consumed eventually. Don't worry about it. I'm just waiting for this cycle. That should give me enough iron to kick off this, which will move, or give me enough alloys to kick off this, which will let me move some of the iron here. You do that. And then, is there any other ice? There's some that's like a little close. There's enough on the map to fill up my stockpile, so I don't want to over-collect it. It's just for later. Yeah, I want to finish this. That'll help.
A probe has completed its scan.
They're going to immediately go back and keep harvesting that. Okay, and this is going to get the iron off of the docks, which makes room for ice. Go ahead and get some ice. Yeah, we have enough iron in storage right now. This should be fine. I just want to bring in enough ice that we can... We don't have a homeless debuff here, right? Almost. It's very, very close. We'll be able to send a few more people over there. Yeah, okay. Keep it up. That one building is going to be, yes, very important. Okay, so now I think I'm in, like, the min-max territory, right? I do have to come out here and I have to build the IXION engine. So I'm going to start that because I have enough resources to do it. But as soon as that's done, we can leave. I won't be leaving, though, because obviously I got stuff to do, which is, again, really collecting as much iron and ice as possible. I want to finish this EVA airlock for later. Food is now negative. I feel like that was bound to happen based on how I've been pushing this with population unfreezing. So we go ahead, we turn this off. And where can I cram one more insect farm? Probably right here. I just need to connect the road to it. Again, that's for later.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Oh boy. Knee-high protocols are online. Stanford checks have been passed. The IXION engine is fully integrated with Tiqqun systems, and we are ready for ignition. Vol jump coordinates can only be generated by computational machinery utilizing Faust tachyons, a particle found in self-similar space. These calculations are one of the most valuable and best-kept secrets of DOLOS. Administrator, we have the jump coordinates to reach the last known location of the Protagoras. So we're following the Protagoras because they seem to have known where the location of this planet that we could settle on is. So that's what we're doing. Now that that's done... I think we have to wait for this to charge or something. Oh, we need to have a certain amount of hull integrity to make the jump. That will make sense once we get there, I suppose. But what I'm going to do right now is just put a break in the footage because, again, I'm just sitting here and waiting to stockpile some resources before we move on. So I will see you in a moment. Popping back in to show that I got a request to awaken 50 chronic pods within 24 cycles. If this is technically possible, if you leave them on for pretty much the whole time, because I think you get about 3 pods per cycle. It's just I kind of hit my limit. I think basically if you turn the chronic center off for too long, then you get hit with this request. The thing is, as much as I want to do this, I don't have the food production, nor do I really have the space for more food production. I mean, I kind of do. It's just we'd have to be very active in moving it next time. So I will tell the crew they need to focus on something more productive. It's not a super important thing right now. I filled up some ice here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because I don't need much more. And then let's go ahead and start picking up the stuff that was left for us at the Hephaestus site. But what's nice is now we have some free space in our docks, and we've just been nonstop creating alloys this whole time. So I'm trying to now get this EVA airlock done. Not only will that allow us to get out of the danger zone of our hull faster, but I think it should make it cheaper to repair. I also finished all my science ship upgrades that I want for next mission. The ship repatriation allows us, if we find broken down ships, we can fix them and then add them to our crew without having to build them ourselves. Oh, we're getting a call. Hello.
Administrator, we are ready to follow the traces of the Protagoras through self-similar space using the frequencies recovered from Outer Oak's black box. Vol systems have been adapted for the new IXION-class engine. The Tiqqun is now fully equipped to pursue our main objective, ensure humanity's survival by finding the habitable exoplanet named Remus.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I came back in when I did, because that, story-related thing. We also make tiny progress towards our research, just because we get that little bit from the assistant promotion upgrade. So I now started mushroom walls. This allows us to create mushrooms rather than having to eat bugs. So that's just something I'm going to have in the chamber ready to go for next time. This is just about done. Honestly, you can just keep it turned off. Let's see if this pops. Yes. Okay, Sector 1 is now ranked in Space 2. What that means... I think there's a visualization of it in the DLS Center, which is something I still want to make. By the way, I can afford to turn this back on. Wait, can I? It's really the food situation. As long as we're sending them to Sector 2, it should be fine. They wanted me to turn this back on, but I could not, I couldn't guarantee. That I could leave it on for long enough without running out of food. And again, I don't want to add more food structures if I can help it. I could probably put them up here. Again, this is reserved for a big structure. This is reserved for something. This down here is reserved for those mushroom walls, actually. maybe I'm like over future proofing myself. If I just threw down some bug farms now, then I could just keep unfreezing people. But it's fine, because we're going to be unfreezing a lot of people over the course of the next chapter anyway. So it's not important that they're unfrozen right now. We just need to be able to do it eventually. I'll put my DLS center up here. This is like the perfect spot for it. So we can move our cryonic center down here once we don't need these farms anymore. But the DLS center is one of those buildings that, like, it's killer. We need it. I can at least do this and pause it. Again, this stuff is ready to be built. Actually, I think we could go ahead and do it. So we resume here. And because I moved this, I could just mark this for deletion. Yeah, that should be fine. We just mark that for deletion, and then I suppose I could get another house. They're not houses. They're domatic quarters. We could build another one over here just because, again, my population it's hurting. And then this, it's going to take a really long time. What I can do is turn this off so that I think it'll only feed... No, never mind. This is fine. It'll come out from here, and then eventually it'll drain this to fill this back up. But then the docking bay is just sort of chill. I'd love to get all my cryopods off the docking bay. So that's kind of what I'm angling for. Okay, back to me being gone while we just sort of farm this out. Okay, I forgot to turn the hull auto repair back on. You get one notification. So if I forget again after this, then I lose. Administrator, the deplorable state of the hull has activated the emergency DOLOS system to avoid total disintegration of the station. During the conception of the Tiqqun, Masaru Nihai integrated the system into the station's core design in case of hull breach. It is a single-use prototype. An expanding metallic foam has been injected into the double hull of the station. It will hold back the Tiqqun's disintegration for a short time. The hull must be repaired as a matter of urgency before the foam dissipates. Understood. It was gonna happen. All right, it was bound to happen. We turn you back on, and it's fine. Once again, I will disappear and be back once I've made the tiny bits of progress I can. Okay, I gave in and just built in this area. I'll worry about that later. We have a lot of research left to do in order for us to build what we want to in that area anyway. So I'm just going to do this, and then that's pretty much all we can fit in this sector. Even though, I mean, it's not optimal in terms of just insect farms, but this is fine for now. I could also build up here, but we definitely need a building if we want to advance to what this area is going to be later. I'm torn a little bit because there's still enough iron here. Not a ton, but there's enough where I probably could go ahead and expand left into Sector 6 and set up an industrial area and move the steel mill over, etc., etc. Now, that is going to impact the hull, but we also have 3 EVA airlocks to deal with it. By the way, for hitting that threshold, it hit me with a request to keep the hull above 85 HP, which should be fine. We could turn it off now. But it's just like, now that I have plenty of food, and I'll have even more, then I could turn the unfreezing back on/off, and I can leave it on now, and then I could expand leftwards because I have plenty of workers to send over there and not really worry about it. I still don't have accidents triggering either, which is crazy. Now, the thing with that though, it feels a little. I feel like I should purposefully do it just because it feels kind of crappy. Like I'm going against one of the core fundamental systems of the game, which is supposed to force you to have to keep on your infirmaries and maybe even build more than one infirmary per sector, depending on how many people get hurt. I don't know. I feel like this is basically as good of a start you can have in Sector 1 as possible. I genuinely don't think it gets better than this, so the question is, do we capitalize on it and expand now? Versus, if we expand next chapter, we'll be in a new system and we can get science at a more reasonable rate. Right now, we're just waiting for that crappy tick, like once every 5 cycles. It's garbage, right? So we're not really making any technical advancements. But so long as there's some iron here that can support us, right? There's like, it's just like free time, right? As long as we're positive on food and we're not having a homeless debuff tick, then I almost feel like we might as well. It's the most min-maxy thing we possibly could do. So we would expand left, which is the same cost. It's a lot of alloy. You have to pay the electronics, but we're going to get them back and plus some in the next sector. And then those 40 workers, definitely not a problem anymore. Now, what is going to be the blocker by doing this is going to be power, because I don't have enough polymer to make another solar panel. Let's see what this costs. The cheapest one is 67 polymer. We only have 40, and I wouldn't want to spend literally all of my polymer anyway, because I need probes going into the next sector. But in order to get more polymer, we need a polymer factory somewhere. So I almost think maybe we should expand to the left and get at least the polymer and electronics set up. But the electronics factory is 30 power. I think the polymer factory is, I think it's 15? Maybe it's only 5. The polymer factory is only 5, but it's 15 workers, I think. But, like, workers is not the problem. So, I don't know. I'm thinking I can move the cryonics center down here so I can put my DLS center up here instead. We don't need these insect farms anymore because I have more than enough over here. But again, once again, we're very short on alloy. So it's like getting another steel mill just to get more alloy to allow us to expand might be the right choice. I don't think putting a second steel mill here is good because we're just going to end up moving it very quickly anyway. And it would deny us room to get our DLS center up where it needs to be, so I don't need to move it again. Yeah, food is looking good. We have 2 more insect farms. Hull is turned off. Got a little bit of ice. I've got 1 full stockpile here, and then I've got 2 stockpiles over here, which is going to feed the fusion center, which is what's going to consume the ice in the future. This will be batteries. This will be batteries. That will allow us to move the Tiqqun around more. Why are you happy? Ah, the DLS center. Right, so this allows us to set policies. So this tells us that we are in a specialized food tier. They require 10% less water, and they produce 30% more waste. That seems like a downside, but it's not. The waste production is actually quite a good thing. But in order to capitalize on it, you need to turn on waste recycling, which lowers your stability by 1. Just building the DLS center at all gives you +1 from propaganda. You can make it +2 by going to intense propaganda with virtually no downside. You just can't change your policies willy-nilly. You have to wait a certain number of cycles. So if I change this to intense, it increases that cooldown by 5, which is a lot. So if I turn on waste recycling now, that would kick me down to neutral. Then I'd have to wait 10 cycles, and I could kick propaganda up to intense. Let's just make this intense now, because we're going to be sitting around and waiting anyway. So now we're super happy, and then we'll just wait for that cooldown. We can turn on waste recycling. There's nothing that actually collects waste. There's nothing that produces waste. But if we want to store it in a stockpile at all, we need waste recycling turned on, which gives you that -1. So waste recycling we're going to need in pretty much every sector. There's almost no question. There's other valuable stuff. I should highlight these, and then that can be the end of the episode. So you can restrict the amount of food people get if you're really short on food. That's -1 stability, or you can overfeed people for, I guess, emergency stability. Same with working hours. It's like 25% less workers are needed at the cost of stability. So it's just, how do you want to, do you have stability to work with? Do you have workers? What do you have in terms of resources that lets you be flexible here to make up for something you might be lacking? Body recycling, the hope is that we just don't have people dying. So, at least not for a while. People really only die when you're overworked, right? You're still going to have accidents when you're in optimal work conditions, but they're generally not lethal unless you can't house them in infirmaries. So disposal of corpses is fine. You need a lot of people dying for that to be worth it, in order to get the waste to then recycle it. If people are starving, they don't power buildings. Hopefully no one's ever really starving. Same with infirmaries. We can make them at the cost of stability. We can allow more people into the infirmaries. Cryopod Awakening, Workers First is actually awesome, but it's a stability -3. So that's too high. That's something that, like, you'd only really could afford stability-wise at the end of the game, at which point you don't need it anymore. You're going to have plenty of room for everybody and food. So for now, we just go to intense propaganda, and we wait, and then we can turn on waste recycling maybe next chapter. Okay, I'm looking at my layout here, and eventually we want to put... the way I have this set up is I'm going to put an alternate life center down here. There's going to be a request for me to build this for them next time anyway. So we put this here, and we could put a demotic quarter up here. But that means that the cryo center needs to be moved. So with these builds, with these insect farms, I built 1, 2, 3, 4. That means we can get rid of these 2 and still be pretty positive. And alloys are still an issue. So anyway, I'm just going to wait for more resources and do that shift of structures and get my DLS center set up here, and then we'll decide if we want to move into Sector 6 or not.
Hull integrity below 50%.
Alright, I think I forgot to pause the video for an uncomfortable amount of time there at the end of the last break, but that's fine. I'm not editing this. So now at this point, really the only thing left to do is, I mean, I can just wait for some alloys to be smelted, but otherwise, like, I'm good to go. Rather than expanding left, I just don't think this is the right time to do it. I move my cryo center down here, and now I have my DLS center set to intense policy. I can flip this over to waste recycling so that we can grab the waste from my factories and send it over here eventually to feed what will be mushroom farms, which actually we've been getting some passive progress towards those this whole time. But anyway, we put those here. We throw waste into this. We can, since we don't have any more cryopods, we can use this as kind of our waste collection for Sector 1, and then we ship it over, and then we make food from our trash. That's for next time, though. Again, for now, it's mostly just sort of waiting and letting these stockpiles fill up, and for no other reason than to just be prepared for the next sector, because again, there's good money here. And that's kind of like, yeah, why not? Now, I do think that this is kind of an insane way to play this game. I love this game, though. I really enjoy it. So that's how I'm playing. And eventually, we'll have enough stockpiled in these. I set this to be 60 rather than just 20, so that we have a little extra stockpile for the alloys. And then there's not that much we're going to have to tear down in this sector. We'll take down some of these food production structures only when we're ready. The only downside here is we might want to get another stockpile that's just for food, because the food has to be transported out of here, which uses the cargo trucks from the stockpiles. So it's important that we have enough that we can get the food out of here and over here and eventually over to Sector 6. So I suppose maybe with that in mind, I make one more stockpile. Right there is fine, and it's food. And yeah, the amount of workers we have, man, this is very exciting. We're going to be going in with quite a large number of unthawed people, but it's really not that bad comparatively. Like, I think we thawed as many as we could. The mess hall can only hold up to 500 people. It can serve 500 crew.
Hull integrity below 50%.
So as you can see, I have this set so that there are exactly 500 people in Sector 1. And then Sector 2, I think, would have a homeless problem if I tried to thaw more people and shove them over here. So it's fine. Going in with 74, I think, is acceptable. Let's see, what else? This is full. This is just about full. So let's turn the hull back on, and let's do a jump, because our docking bays are pretty much full of iron to smelt for next time. So, you don't have to do this, but we can. We just go ahead and turn this all off, so all of our ships dock, because they're all right there. And we go. Yes.
In accordance with Frau Stanford procedures, all ships must return to the Tiqqun before Vol jump initiation.
I'd love to commence jump. We've been in Chapter 1 a long time.
Full jump complete. Running preliminary diagnostics. Severe hull damage has been detected following self-similar traversal. Hypothesis: each vol jump causes irreversible damage to the Tiqqun structure. Predictive modeling suggests that 4 more vol jumps are possible before the Tiqqun breaks apart. New mission objective established. The Protagoras possesses coordinates of the habitable exoplanet Remus. We must find the Protagoras in order to reach our destination.
Okay, we made it to Chapter 2. That's going to be it for today, and we can test colonization protocols. That's exciting. That's one of those where we'll talk about it next time. But yeah, that's the end of Chapter 1, and of course, as soon as we come in, there's flippin' events waiting for us. These always scare me, just because they have the potential to really make you think you can accomplish it, and then you, like, fail, just barely not making it, and then you suffer a big trust penalty. But trust has not been a problem at all. It's just going to be our alloy and food economies here for most of Chapter 2. I think trust is going to be okay, especially because we have our memorial set up already. And what else? I think we're good. We've got good battery power over here. Probably get one more over here. And yeah, we're cooking with gas. But we'll take a look at the system next time, and we'll formulate a plan on what we want to do next time. Hey, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.